Hi YouTube, it's Danielle, and this is SpiritYouWell or SYW Rap Session 2, and that's Rap, R-A-P. So just going to talk a little bit today. Wanted to talk a little bit about synergy or synergistic messages. So I've got a few things that I want to show you that I use for meditation and also a book that I just finished. So to show you the book, it is Pope Annalisa, and it's by Peter Canova. And this book, I really enjoyed it. If you liked the Da Vinci Code or some of the other kind of spiritual or religious mystery type of books, you will like this. It's got elements of Gnosticism, Kabbalah, things about how the church may evolve, intrigue. Is very, very interesting. It's really about a woman who is an African nun, and by a series of events, she becomes a priest in the Catholic Church, and not only a priest, but she becomes the Pope. And this is happening in the future, so maybe about 10 years from now. And the story of how that happens and what happens after she becomes Pope is the intrigue, is the story. And as it says on the back, Holy Spirit or Holy Evil. So the question is this woman truly good, or is she a force for evil? So this book is going to be part of a trilogy, and I'm going to see if the next one's out. I'm not sure if it is or not. But the reason why I mentioned the book is because the themes that I got out of it, I'm not going to give the storyline too much in case you do want to go read it, is to me talking about the power of one person to change the world, to change a life, and also the power of many to change the world and change a life. And to me, it reminded me about how much power we have. We really have no excuse for what's going on in the world. Yes, we cannot control natural disasters. We cannot control the sun or the moon or the stars or the wind. But we can control our actions. We can control our intentions. We can control our thoughts. We can control resources. So the fact that there are millions starving, thirsty, unclothed, unhoused. Please excuse my dogs who are barking. Franklin, please stop. Thank you. The fact that anybody is unhoused, the fact that we have rapes and beatings, misogyny, racism, Donald Trump, the fact that we have all of this going on is a problem. It's a very serious problem. And we have allowed ego to take over and rule us. We don't have to. That's just the bottom line. We do not have to allow ego to run our lives. And the fact that one person can take a major action and change the world, hence our different mythologies or stories about the prophets of the world, or the many changing the world together. So that's what this book to me brought to mind. The power of one, the power of many. Think Spock in Star Trek. Someone willing to give their life for the many. And then sometimes the many willing to give their life for the few. But if we do what we can do, then we all will be, quote unquote, saved. It just doesn't have to be this way at all. So if we're allowing it, then it's our own issue. We have nobody to blame but ourselves. And we can come to a higher level of consciousness. I know this in my spirit, deep down, without a doubt, we can do better. So I'm saying, please, let's do better. So the synergistic part of this is that I had just finished this book. I think it was on Saturday. And then this morning, I was in my meditation, and to me, the words that came to me during the meditation were very synergistic with that message. So what I've been doing for the past while has been choosing one Hebrew letter a week to meditate on. Now, some people may not know anything about why you might meditate on Hebrew letters, but Hebrew letters, just like in other languages, have more than one meaning. They don't just have the letters meaning. They also have numerical value. They have meanings beyond just the sound or how to spell a word with that letter. So this week, the letter, I do this on Sunday mornings. I pull one of these cards, and what these cards are, I'll show you this too, is Ask the Kabbalah Oracle cards. And these are by Deepak Chopra. Now, he does have a little book that goes with each letter. I typically actually don't use his book as much. The book that I use more, that I found in a half-price bookstore, is called The Oracle of the Kabbalah. And as you can see, the cover looks really crinkled. But this is by Richard Seidman. And he actually does have a new version of this book out. And I contributed to his Kickstarter campaign in order to get that new version published. So it is available. It would not look like this. It's in paperback now. But I like his explanations. It's coming from a more traditional Jewish point of view, but I like that because sometimes we can overlay other things on top of the meanings, which is okay. But I wanted to get something that was kind of closer to what the people who wrote about it originally thought. So I use the meanings in here. And the letter that I got this morning was hate. So it looks backwards, but it's C-H-E-T. And it kind of almost looks like a doorway, if you can see that. So this is the 8th letter in the Hebrew alphabet. And as I have been studying the Tree of Life, 8 would be Hod on the Tree of Life, which is intellect, I think. So I kind of start just thinking about all the ways to meditate on that letter. Now, in the book, Oracle of the Kabbalah, he gives examples of other words that start with CH in Hebrew. So you have words like chutzpah, huppah, which is the structure that people stand under when they get married in the Jewish religion. Hate, or C-H-A-Y-T, which is equivalent to sin or missing the mark. Hesed, which is grace, loving kindness, or mercy on the Tree of Life. You can think of that. Chokmah, which is wisdom. So there's many, many words that basically in Kabbalistic theory are related because they start with the same letter. So the letter that I meditated on, which is hate, and what I came to think about it is about that grace and loving kindness. Hayim is another word, which means to life, or El Hayim is to life. So meaning that life is more than just the good, what we consider good. It's also the things that make us sad, make us mad, make us fearful, that we have to walk that line between the good and the bad. And that is grace. That is the place of grace. That is a place of Hesed. And that is the place of life. And so when I read that, I thought about that book, because the character in the book, the main character, her name is Annalisa, walks that line. There's other people who are walking that line too in the book. Sometimes they walk that line to the detriment of humanity, and sometimes they walk that line to the benefit of humanity. But we have the ability to walk that line. We do not have to go off the edges and fall into the mire. And even if you do fall in the mire, that you can get out of the mire. You don't have to stay there. But you take stock, you revel in both, because you wouldn't know what good was unless you experienced quote unquote bad. You wouldn't know light if you never saw dark. So you have to have both sides of the coin in order to have life. So that's why it made me think about the synergy of that message. Grace, the power of the many, the power of the one. It kind of relates to what I talked about last week of what I think it was last week or maybe 2 weeks ago about intentions. What are we here to do? Are we just walking through life, not paying any attention to what's happening? Are we going to be present? Are we going to pay attention? Are we going to love and experience life? I want to love and experience life, and I believe you do too. And so that's what I got out of hate, CHET, is that it is the doorway into grace, the doorway into loving kindness, the doorway into Hayim, the doorway into Hokmah. All of that, which is part of life. And we can change what's going on. All this violence, disturbing behaviors, ego tripping, we can stop it. We can stop it. We first have to know we can stop it. We have to dare to stop it. We have to will to stop it. And then just quit talking about it all the time, but actually do something. So that's what I got out of the synergy today. Hate, the letter hate, the power of the one, the power of the many, which is grace, which is Hayim, which is Hesed, which is Hokmah, wisdom. I did have another synergistic message today too, but I'm going to save that for later because I want to get a little more into that more deeply than what's going to happen on this video. So I hope that something I said has inspired you to think about walking that line of grace, accepting the good along with the quote unquote bad, accepting the dark with the light, so that we can walk in grace and not ignore what's happening. You don't ignore it or try to escape, but you invest your energy here because you're here. You're physically here. You will move on eventually, but right now you're here. And we have work to do. And I want to live in a better world. I don't know about you, but what's going on now, this is just not my world. That I would, if Christina were queen, it would not be like this at all. Some people would be kicked off the island, let me tell you, and never to return again. But I'm not queen, and I'm glad I don't have that honor because I am a queen in my own little kingdom. But I'm glad I don't have to be the world czar. So I think I'm going to end this. And again, I just wish you Hesed. I wish you Hokmah. I wish you Hayim. Shalom and happy Sunday.